Hello YouTube, this is Bash, back again with week 2 of the UPC against Lunar and the Illusionists. His team consists of Kieran White, Landorus Incarnate, Mamoswine Arcanine Swellow, Gastrodon, Zorg, Lurantis, Mega Altaria, Cresselia, Zebstrika, and Talonflame, with the Z users being Kieran White and Zebstrika. And of course we know my team again, with Deoxys Attack, Tapu Fini, Cobalion, Blaziken, Porygon 2, Serena, Garchomp, Mega Absol, Golurk, Electros, Quillfish, and Toucannon. Kieran White, I was a little scared of Scarf Kieran White just because it puts in so much work. And on my team, I really only have like two-ish answers, and that's Tapu Fini and Electros. But with its terrible, Kieran White hits Electros with Earth Power, which is pretty bad. And Tapu Fini, I need it for another check, as you'll see in this game. Uh, Honestly, I really want. This whole game was based off of hazard stacking, or at least toxic spike stacking with Quillfish. But yeah, Quillfish came in huge, as you see. So he brought Lurantis, Mamoswine, Kieran White, Landorus, Incarnate, Talonflame, and Mega Altaria. I brought Quillfish, Garchomp, Mega Absol, Blaziken, Electros, and Tapu Fini. The Quillfish had ability to intimidate, had T-Spikes, Poison Jab, Waterfall, and Spikes, and it was really designed to take on Mega Altaria and I guess Talonflame as well. Plus, with the Intimidate, it could take like an Earthquake from Mamoswine and do a lot back with Waterfall. But its main job was to set up T-Spikes, especially this game, with his only way of getting rid of it is Lurantis, and Quillfish kind of the Lurantis doesn't want to come in on Quillfish because of its Poison Jab. Garchomp was a Z move actually this week. I had SD, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, and Poison Jab, and this pretty much hits everything pretty hard. And unless there's Scarf or Talonflame with its Scale Wing, Talonflame, it's my Garchomp outspeeds everything on his team. So that's why I brought it with the SD set, and it puts in a lot of work, except for Landorus, but that's why I had Dragonium Z on it. So next I had Mega Absol with the mix attack set with Sucker Punch, Knockoff, Playoff, and Ice Beam. The Ice Beam generally to take on the Landorus, and Knockoff Sucker Punch does pretty much hits everything pretty hard, and then the Playoff is for the Mega Altaria along with the Ice Beam. On my Blaziken, I brought a pretty funny set. I brought Focus Band, which gives it a chance to live on 1. It's kind of like a Focus Sash, but it has like a 10% chance, I believe, to live. And I brought High Jump Kick, Poison Jab, Stone Edge, and Protect, which hits pretty much every single thing on his team except for Landorus again. So my goal kind of for this game was to get rid of the Landorus and maybe sweep with Blaziken or Garchomp. Our next one is Electros, and it's a specially defensive set with U-Turn, Drain Punch, Giga Drain, and Thunder Punch, running Brave, a minus speed nature, plus attack, and it's also Assault Vest, so it could kind of take on Kieran pretty well. And then Tapu Fini, actually I brought Telepathy instead of Misty Surge because I wanted those T-Spikes to rack up on his Pokemon, so I brought Telepathy, Tapu Fini with leftovers with Ice Beam, Moon Blast, Scald, and Toxic. So, let's get into this game, okay? So, seeing that Lurantis is probably his only way of getting rid of hazards, I really wanted to get lead Quillfish. Plus, it does pretty well against most of his team except for Landorus and maybe Mamoswine. So, I just want to lead with it. So I lead off with it. And he leads off Mamoswine, which I was like, well, I mean, I could take an Earthquake pretty like oh well, depending on his set. And Quillfish Toxic Spikes really are huge for this game. So I decide to stay in, and he makes the switch into Lurantis, probably expecting the T Spikes. Yeah, and knowing that he's going for defog, I kind of thought I knew that I could two shot him with Poison Jab. So I click Poison Jab, and he defogs to get away those Toxic Spikes, and I also get the poison, which is actually pretty big because that means I could just keep setting up T Spikes, and his Lurantis is just gonna die eventually. So he switches out again, and I go for T Spikes again. He switches into Mega Altaria, and I'm like, why would he switch into Mega Altaria on a Quillfish? Earthquake doesn't do anything to this, and anything to my Mrs. Puff. And then I figured out that, so I click Poison Jab, and I realize he's a bogey set, and he clicks Heal Bell to get off the Toxic on Lurantis, but he doesn't. Does he realize that the T Spikes are just gonna get Lurantis Toxic again anyway? So what's the point? So he switches into Mamoswine, and I set up my second T Spike, and I'm like, oh, well, that might be a problem because now that I kind of see his sets, Quillfish is pretty important, especially with Lurantis still around to defog away those T Spikes. I need to keep Quillfish around. So I switch into my answer to Mamoswine, Tapu Fini, which does not have the Misty Surge, and he clicks Earthquake and almost two shots me. Well, pretty much two shots me. I'm like, ooh, maybe I should have put some more defense into it. But I outspeed Mamoswine, because you've seen this turn, and click Scald, which basically makes this die to toxic damage anyway. So I guess it's a good trade for me because Quillfish really didn't kind of struggled against the ground types that he has, and that's one of them down. So it wasn't that big of a deal. So knowing that he's going to go out, I have a feeling that he's going to go out to Lurantis to try to defog away the T Spikes. So I go into Garchomp, which is carrying Poison Jab. He gets toxic, and I just click Poison Jab, and T Spikes are here to stay. So he goes into Kyurem White. I don't know why he went into Kyurem White. Maybe to bluff the Scarf, because as you'll see in a second, he isn't Scarf. So I immediately switch out to my answer to Kyurem White, thinking he's Scarf, and go into Electros, and he clicks Sub-Zero Slammer, which is Free Shock. I'm pretty sure it's Free Shock ICMZ, which means, do you see how tanky Electros is? I mean, it just took that, and it's not even like it's a neutral hit. That's just impressive on its own. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was done for a second. I thought Electros was gone, and he survived it. And then he tries to make a read, thinking I'm gonna switch out, and clicks Flash Cannon, and I click Drain Punch to try to get some of my health back, which this forces him to click a Draco Meteor, dropping its special attack, and allowing me to switch into my Mega and to bring in Mega Absol and just kill something with a knockoff. Plus, nothing wants to switch into a knockoff other than Mega Altaria, which I have play rough for anyway. So he switches in Landorus, and Lunar told me after, I think he's not really familiar with Mega Absol, and Mega Absol is base 115 speed. It could outspeed pretty much everything on his team except for maybe like one Bond, Talonflame, and so I just decided to click Ice Beam because I don't know why he's doing. Maybe he had Yachi, maybe to try to set up. I have no idea, or maybe just didn't know it got Ice Beam. So I click Ice Beam, and that's just a dead Landorus. So all of its threats are out of the way, and he has Talonflame. So I'm like, well, my answer to Talonflame is Quillfish. So I'll just switch in and you see that Brave Bird doesn't do anything. Mrs. Puff tanked that like a beast, and he clicks Taunt thinking I'm gonna just set up spikes. But there's 2 mons left on his team, so why would I set up spikes? I mean, I was a little like confused about that. So I just click Waterfall and just destroy Talonflame. And he brings in Mega Altaria, and this is game over. And I just click Poison Jab. It doesn't kill, but T Spikes give Mrs. Puff another kill, giving us the victory, a 4-0 victory over Lunar and the Illusionists. His team was pretty good, and I'm not gonna lie, he's pretty good, but like he didn't have the way to beat Toxic Spikes, and I hope he'll figure out how to beat that later. But in the draft, I'm happy I got sniped from Garborder because Mrs. Puff Quillfish just put in so much work that game. Without it, I don't know what I would have done. So that's GG to Lunar, and that brings us to 1-1. And next week I'll be playing Tsunami in the Seattle Slandits. I I hope people realize that like maybe I was hoping that maybe actually I didn't bring Deoxys attack this match because of his Zoroark, and I was pretty scared of that. But he didn't even bring that, so maybe if like I probably could have gone like maybe a better um score if Deoxys attack I brought. But like I was pretty satisfied with this match, and now people know to fear my Quillfish. So well, that's a good game, Lunar. I hope to play you again, and maybe in playoffs, or like maybe we have to wait till next season. We'll see. Bash out.